Good morning, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Ridgeback Rumble Talk. And today we have a very, very special guest with us. She's actually a graduating student, and she's none other than the former women's lacrosse captain, Dale Wilson. Dale, you want to introduce yourself to everyone?
Hi guys, I'm Dale. I just graduated from Ontario Tech and finished my seasons as a Ridgeback.
Wonderful, wonderful. So Dale was the number 3 of the Ridgebacks. She did play as the captain of the team. She studied kinesiology, very star-studded student. Fantastic. She did get an all-academic award too, which is amazing. So, we have a very special guest in our hands today. But before we get into any of the details of the discussion, all that stuff, tell me a bit about your background. You're actually from Saskatchewan, Saskatchewan. So tell me a
Yeah,
bit about that.
I am born and raised in Saskatoon. I spent my life growing up on the lacrosse field, except for we don't have any women's lacrosse here in Saskatoon, so I grew up playing with the guys. My dad's really involved with the sport, so it was a really natural kind of jumping off point for me to really stay involved in the sport. And then as I grew up through elementary and high school, I was really athletic, played basketball, volleyball, danced, all that stuff. And then when I got to university, I had the opportunity to come to Ontario and play lacrosse out here for the women's game. So I kind of took a leap of faith and switched over to the women's game. And it was great. I definitely don't regret it. It was the best decision.
Yeah, honestly, I agree as well. You did perform exceptionally well. I mean, but that's a very long journey, though. I did a bit of research of mine, and I found out that the distance from Ontario Tech to Saskatoon City Hall is about 2,831 kilometers. That's a
It's
29-hour drive or a
it's
three and a
long.
half hour flight. So
Yeah.
what caused you to make that decision and say, okay, I want to come to Ontario?
You know, one of the calls was playing women's lacrosse. It's the only province in Saskatchewan really where you can play competitive lacrosse as a female at the collegiate level. So that was kind of a call for me. And then as I was looking at schools, I applied to a couple programs, and Ontario Tech just really made an effort to care about me as a student and an athlete. And that's really important to me to have that balance in a school that cares about the person, not just the numbers on the page or the scores on the field. And so I think that like the Ridgeback's athletic program, as well as the academic side, has really offered that to a lot of student athletes. And so that's really what drew me to Ontario Tech.
That's great. Honestly, that's a very important factor because you want to keep that balance in your lifestyle. And I guess we can definitely see that too. And it was actually pretty interesting though. I remember you posting online about your thesis towards towards the end of your whole education now that you're graduating. So let me actually kind of jump forward a bit though. Seems like you're a very intelligent individual. Tell us a bit more about advancing reminiscence therapy through virtual reality application to promote social connectedness of persons with dementia.
Yeah, so
What's that about?
that's my research practicum. So I was really fortunate as part of the kinesiology program in your 4th year, you have an opportunity to do a research practicum with a health science faculty member. And I was really fortunate to work with Dr. Winnie Sun on a project supporting elders with dementia. So it's using virtual reality, so like those cool headsets
Yeah.
that you think of,
The VR
to,
goggles. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, to provide like reminiscence memories from their past life in a more realistic way. And it's actually really, reminiscence therapy has really shown to be very successful in helping people with dementia journey through that diagnosis and help them kind of cope with the symptoms of dementia. So we wanted to see if that would enhance that treatment.
Yeah.
That's kind of the project I was working on. Dr. Sun was like so great to work with, and we got to do like some data collection. We got to design our whole study. So it was a really, really good opportunity. I definitely highly recommend the research practicum to health science students.
I can imagine that. That does sound really nice And I won't lie, it does sound really complex as well. Like how they're able to reproduce that for the virtual reality in that space for them definitely is for a fantastic cause. And I do like that. I think that's something great. But let's kind of take it a bit back. I just wanted to touch on that because I was itching just to mention it for sure. And I'm sure it's something that you're honestly highly very proud of. But let's take it a bit back and we're going to do a little bit of a quiz before we start talking about your Ridgeback season. So I have one question for you, Dale. Who
Yes.
was your very first opponent that you played against this past Ridgeback season?
Oh,
And what
it
was
was
the score of the
double
game?
header weekend. I think we played Guelph first.
Yeah, you're correct. Yeah.
Yeah, we played Guelph and then we played Brock, I think, in a double header, and we won
Yeah.
both. It was great.
That's fantastic. We love that. Great way to open up the season. What was the score of the game, though? Of the Guelph game? Do you remember? That's a tougher one.
Was it like 16 to something?
Yeah.
I
It has
can't
the
believe
same
I
number.
remember that.
How do you remember that? But anyway.
I don't know. I think I was so excited to open the season with 2 wins. It's like cemented in my brain.
That's good. We love to hear that. Then. Okay, I have another question for you, though. This one is more for your teammates. Who do you say you get along with best on your team? Who is like your best buddy on the lacrosse team?
So hard.
I know you don't want to pick, but who is that person you get along with best?
You know, there's so many girls that I love. That's one of the great things about our lacrosse team. We have like so many people that are awesome. Obviously, like being a co-captain with Marty, like Nicole Martindale, we have like a really special relationship where we can kind of have a really great give and take. But I also live with our goalie, Lauren Young, what used to live with her. So there's definitely a special bond there. There's only a few times you can eat pizza at midnight before you really become close friends.
That's funny, then. Okay, we'll talk a bit more. I'll catch on to that, see what your experience was like living with your teammates and whatnot. But now I have another question, though. I did find this out, and I want to ask you, when was the very first women's lacrosse game played? And where?
Like ever?
Yeah, ever.
Oh my gosh, I have no idea. Like,
Let me say organized game, because I know lacrosse has been around for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know when that would be. Like, obviously, lacrosse has such a rich culture with our Indigenous peoples in Canada and the United States, but I don't even know when the first organized women's game. You'll have to tell me.
I found this out. This is the first organized game. Of course, it has a very fantastic culture. I do love what I was reading, but they said the first organized game was in Scotland in 1890. So
there you go.
It was. And then let's see, when let's just ask this question too. When was the first time that field lacrosse was played at the Olympics?
Okay, this is a tricky question because it's never actually been an official Olympic sport.
Yeah.
I think it was trialed, but I can't remember when.
It was a while back. It was last century, though. I'll give you that hint.
I don't even know what year it would have been.
It was in 1904. Let me put you out of your misery.
There we
go.
That
was wow.
Yeah, I know the sport's pushing for Olympic status again, so we'll see. It might be back there.
Yeah, hopefully. I would like to see that come back.
Yeah.
I think it's a fantastic sport. So let's talk a bit more about your Ridgeback season then. I looked up a bit. You had an 8-7-1 record as a team. What do you have to say just in general about the performance, things that went well, things you felt maybe could have improved for next season? What are your thoughts just in general?
Yeah, honestly, it was such a great season. We had a really strong freshman rookie group that came in this year, and they were just all great people. So that was such a nice addition to the team. And it was just a really great season, like from start to finish. We had like great leadership from our coaches, great hustle from our girls in the field, and I think that really showed in our performance. Obviously, we really bumped up in the standings this year, and that was a big goal for us as a team. So to see that realized was just like huge for us as a program. Yeah. Obviously, we were really pushing for that medal on home turf. We're a little bit short from that, but honestly, we've really grown so much as a team, and I really wouldn't change any of that. Yeah, to see the girls like really gain confidence, girls that had been on our team before improve so much, and our rookie class come in and just really take over the field. It was really special. Yeah.
That's great to see. I mean, first of all, finishing fourth is definitely something that's hugely commendable, as you saw that. But would you say that this means that we're still yet to see the beginning of something great to happen? Now that you're speaking about this rookie team that's going to take everyone by storm, what do you have to say about them specifically?
Honestly, our rookie class this year, like our freshman class, has got to be one of like the strongest classes Ontario Tech has ever seen. They're really great people too, which is awesome. And they're all really good students. They've put in the work to be successful student athletes. Yeah, it's been really great being their captain. They've been like open to learning while like teaching us new things, right? It's been really great that way to have like such a strong and respectful, well-rounded freshman group, because it really makes the team better.
Yeah, I agree with that then. And then, of course, there were some highlight performances from the whole team altogether. I did notice this that twice, the two times Ontario played against York, we had flawless victories. We're
Yes,
talking 23-0 and 24-0.
yes.
What happened specifically in those games that just caused that? Or
Honestly,
let's not throw shade at anyone, but would you say that, okay, we were just far superior, or was there just something special about those two games that just caused us to do that?
you know, we have an amazing goaltender, Lauren Young. She
Hmm.
is just honestly phenomenal. And she has this amazing way of just like standing on her head when you need her to, whether it's in like a
Yeah.
really big game or like in a victory against York, you know, when we need a confidence boost, she just has this amazing way of like making unbelievable saves. So
Yeah.
when we really needed a confidence boost, when we were kind of like, okay, we're gonna have a couple losses here, we really need to get some fire under us, Lauren would just like show up and have a shutout, and it would really kind of just like boost everybody. It would boost the defensive core, and then everything builds from there, right? Like if you have a strong defense, then your midfielders are feeling great, then your attacker feeling great. So yeah, honestly, props to Lauren. She's had like the
Shout
most
out to Lauren. Let's do that.
I
Actually,
could
so I
not
have one.
in that position. So I'm glad it's her.
That's good. So honestly, yeah, from that, my respect for Lauren has obviously gone up. In fact, let's actually have a discussion with Lauren. I want to actually have a discussion with Lauren, see how she found the whole season. When we do have that, though, what's one question you'd like us to ask Lauren from you?
Oh man, one question I'd like to ask Lauren. I think probably what she's most excited for next year. I think that like one of the things about Lauren, she's like so great and is such an amazing goaltender, and I just want her to be excited for next season. So what she's most looking for. Obviously, we're a little bit postponed because this whole pandemic thing, but the season will
Yeah,
come. So yeah.
sure. We'll talk about that too as well. And then one last thing though, just about lacrosse and playing in general. Now that you've graduated, what are your plans for the future now in terms of playing sport and whatnot?
Yeah. So obviously I'm done my time in the OUA, but I've accepted the offer to study my master's at the University of Manitoba for the fall. So I'm gonna continue, yeah, gonna continue with the academic road. And I'm hoping to just like really stay involved in lacrosse in Saskatchewan and Western Canada. It's a small community here, but a strong community. And so it really has the opportunity to grow. So there's some things in the works. We're hoping to kind of get a women's program started here.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll be sending more athletes out to Ontario soon.
That's great news to hear then. That's fantastic. I also heard word from the grapevine that you even want to go as far as getting your PhD someday as well. Is that true?
It is. I've hummed and hawed about it for a while. It's definitely not off the table, but we'll kind of see how it goes. I'm taking it one step at a time. I'll do the master's first and kind of see where that
Sure.
leads. But it's definitely something I was surprised that I was so interested in, and that the research practicum really kind of pushed me in that direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just enjoyed it so much that I think that kind of called me in that direction. So we'll see.
Well, I'll have to see you do that for sure. Okay, fantastic, fantastic. We've seen a fantastic overview from you. Let's switch gears a bit. We're going to take things more towards your lifestyle and a bit more fun stuff. So I want to ask you a bunch of random questions. And
Okay.
I'm going to see what your reaction is or what your answer is. Now,
Okay.
my very first question is, what is coprastophobia?
I have no idea. Do you know what that is?
Well, I did research, so I have to know.
Oh, okay.
But apparently, it's the fear of constipation. I
Oh,
just
that's
wanted to twist your head a
fun.
bit. Okay, I do have a second question though. I like asking this.
All right.
Who is the funniest person on your team, on the women's lacrosse team?
Oh man, that's tough. I feel like Amanda is like so funny. Who? There's lots of really funny girls. But yeah, Amanda just like takes the cake for me. Like when somebody needs a laugh, Amanda, you're going to Amanda. Yeah.
Okay, lovely, lovely. We'll speak with Amanda soon then. So I have this other question. I don't know why I found this pretty intriguing, but is it possible to sneeze in your sleep?
I'm gonna say yes.
So
Like, you
apparently
know,
the
you get
answer
a
is
little
no.
you can sneeze in your sleep?
When
Oh,
you're in REM sleep, like the deep sleep,
yeah,
apparently your body has to wake up partially to actually sneeze and then go back into deep sleep.
I guess.
Even
I mean, nobody's gonna sneeze and then stay asleep. That would be intense.
yeah, that would be really weird. And I actually have one thing though. This might be an uncomfortable question. You may not, if you don't want to share, that's fine. But what's one weird thing about you that a lot of people don't know?
One weird thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's weird. I'm actually a classically trained violinist.
What?
It's so random.
Wait,
Yeah,
what?
I know. So I think I've got almost my entire career that I made known that. Yeah, I used to play for like the youth orchestra here in Saskatchewan. Yeah, I like played violin like my whole life. I still play. Yeah. I mean, I think
Still
it's
play
weird
for
'cause,
now.
like, it's definitely opposite of my student athlete personality. It's there.
I like that. What can't you do there? My goodness. Stellar student, stellar athlete, stellar musician,
There's a
wonderful
lot.
teammate. Is there
No,
anything there Wilson cannot do?
no math.
No math? Oh,
I
now
know.
that you ask, I have a little challenge for you then.
I know. I'm
Now
scared.
that you ask. Okay, it's a simple math challenge. We'll wrap up with this.
Okay.
Basically, I just want to see how high you can go off the top of your head. So it has to be mental math. And basically what it is a multiply by two challenge. So
Okay.
let's say I do, what is 2 times 2 then?
4,
What is 4 times 2?
8,
What is 8 times 2?
16,
What is 16 times 2?
32,
What's 32 times 2?
64,
Wonderful. What's 64 times 2?
128.
Yes. What's 128 times 2?
Oh my gosh.
You're doing great so far.
128 times 2. I'm like reaching for my pencil over here. I think that's as far as I can go mentally before I'm going to need to scratch it out.
Okay, we can stop there. It's just something really funny. I like to try. Honestly, I don't think I can even go past that off the top of my head. I'm too used to using calculators.
Okay.
But let's jump into other stuff though. So basically, I know you did mention about the pandemic, how that's going to affect the future season upcoming though, and especially with the fact that you're graduating. So what was your reaction like when you found out that you weren't going to have a physical graduation? And how did you take that in general?
Yeah, it was hard. Like I think when it was just so sudden, right? Like we went from like we were ending the year, we were like almost at athletic banquet. We had like all these
Yeah.
kind of big milestones wrapping it up. And then it kind of just like in one day was like, oh, school's canceled, the finals are online, you're going home, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that was, I think, like the biggest like hurdle in my brain because I kind of had like blocked out my sadness at the end of the year over like several events. And so to kind of have to like pack up all my stuff and move quickly and then kind of try and process all that was challenging. And obviously like no convocation. It's too bad, but obviously we're invited to a future convocation in the future, which is
Yeah.
great.
That's good
But my
news.
family held a little grad ceremony for me in the backyard this past weekend. So it was good. My mom even dug out my hat from my high school grad. So
Oh,
still got the graduation. So yeah, it was good. But obviously it would have been like great to see everybody especially like as an out of province student, I was kind of like, oh great, I'll get to see everybody again. But
Yeah.
um,
Yeah,
I
it
know,
is what it is.
yeah, like I know for lots of people it's been like a big adjustment, and obviously like we're very lucky here in Saskatchewan. We've had like a lot less cases
Yeah.
than some other areas, and so like we're very fortunate. We're all happy and healthy here. So yeah,
Great.
yeah, it was sad, but at the end of the day, obviously health and safety is number one, and we want to protect our students. And I think the school did a really good job of that. They acted very quickly. So
Yeah, they were very active with it. Everything
yeah,
was on the ball, on the money, and I was really impressed with the
yeah,
whole thing. And I like that point you mentioned. Health and safety was number one. There was an interesting thing you mentioned though, that your mom dug out your old high school hat. And I know you did go to Holy Cross High School.
I
So
did.
now looking at yourself right now and looking at yourself back then when you were in high school,
Yeah.
all the lessons you've learned, all the experiences you've been to or been through, I know a lot of people will be able to relate to advice that you can give to yourself in the past. So
Yeah.
looking at yourself, what advice would you give to your Holy Cross High School self, looking back in
Um,
perspective?
I would say like don't be so concerned about having like a straight, clear path when you graduate high school. I've changed my mind like 12 times when I grew up and I still haven't figured that out. So just like stay rooted in the people who love you and your family or whatever support system is best for you and healthiest for you, and then just use that as an anchor and keep pushing for whatever, because you're gonna find something that you love along the way. You just have to kind of keep plugging along till you find it.
I like that. I like that. You just keep on going till you
Yeah.
find that destination, find the treasure chest. That's good
Yeah.
though. So I'm sure definitely you've probably had a lot of inspirations, role models in your life. I did find this out too that you do see Allison Felix, a track
Yeah.
athlete. I do love that woman actually. I used to watch her a lot growing up when she was running. Strong inspiration for me as well. What do you love most about her? Why do you resonate with her so much?
I think that there's something about like strong women in sport that just like really speaks to me. Like obviously, like I grew up playing with the guys and
Hmm.
repping with guys lacrosse, like just everything was men's lacrosse. And so trying to like carve my space as like a women in sport was really important to me. And Allison Felix has like just done an amazing job of that. So like obviously she got pregnant, Nike dropped her, she came back and won another gold medal, making her like the winningest track athlete of all time. And she really has just like created, like carved out her own space in the sport. And I think that's important for all athletes, but especially female athletes, or athletes of any minority. Like you're going to need to knock down that door eventually. And so just like continuously working to create that space for yourself in the sport, I think that she's done a good job of that. And I think that that's kind of what inspires me about her.
Yeah, and I can easily see a lot of those traits in you yourself. I mean,
Thank
you've overcome so many different things. And the very first one I mentioned was the distance away from home. You overcame that, still came here and thrived. I also heard that you actually the first woman from North America to referee at a men's world championship. What was
you.
that like? I mean, this is just so much stuff that you can see Dale just breaking barriers, stepping out of those comfort zones, and just making history happen. What was that like for you?
Yeah, so I've been really fortunate to ref men's field lacrosse at a very high level. And that was kind of really encouraged by my dad. He's an amazing official at the highest level. And so he really kind of just pushed me to keep going. And I was extremely fortunate to have a very strong group of mentors in the sport that really helped me develop my craft as a referee. And so in 2018, 2017, I refed in Israel at the
Yeah.
World's Men's Championship. Um, and it was an amazing experience. But yeah, I'm really lucky to be thank you. I'm really lucky to be the first woman from North America to kind of do that. And when I was going through that process, I was watching lots of like documentaries and reading lots of books about like the first women to kind of be in men dominated sports. And
Yeah.
uh, there's a referee, a women referee that refed in the NFL, I believe, and one of her lines was, if you're the first one through the door, you need to make sure it stays open for everybody else. And so that was kind
Mm,
of my big motivation. So like, if I'm going to be the first woman here, the first woman to kind of breach this barrier from North America. There's been amazing female referees from elsewhere in the world that have made it to that level, but the first female from North America to be reffing at that high level, I need to make sure that door stays open for the next people that come behind me. And so, yeah, it was an awesome experience. I could go on about that all day. Like the refs there are amazing. The international lacrosse community is just amazing. So yeah, it was awesome.
That's awesome. I mean, we're all very proud of you. And in fact, I want to dig a bit deeper in that though. What would you say we can all do, even you yourself, us as a community, the lacrosse community, to make sure that door stays open? What would you say that is our role for all of us to play?
I mean, obviously, I think like the most important thing right now is just like listening to people who have different voices from your own. Obviously, that's like very applicable in the world climate right now, but you need to be listening to the people that have other experiences than you, right? So like, whether that's minority groups, people of color, women, LGBTQ individuals in sport, we need to be listening to what they have to say because they have very valuable experiences that will make us better as a whole. So I think that's what's important. And if we listen and apply what we learn, we're going to make sport better, because sport is a thing that craves involvement. It needs people, right? So if we involve everybody, it's going to be better. There's just no way it isn't.
Exactly. It's for everyone. There's no room for discrimination in sport. I mean, that's one strong philosophy that I always like to hold. So talk less, listen more. And there's so much that you won't realize is even there. So thanks for sharing that. That's a very important point. So now let's try out a little challenge though. I want to talk a bit more about you and your lifestyle away from sports. Maybe you touch a bit more on your family as well, things that inspire you, things you love doing, things that maybe are your pet peeves or whatnot. But actually, let's jump into a rapid fire round.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you, I asked someone else, another athlete, these same questions, and I'm going to ask you too as well. See what your response is. Just a bunch of this or that questions. Okay.
Yeah.
Ready? Okay. So very first one, eggs or pancakes?
Pancakes.
Pancakes, okay. Day or night?
Day.
Day? Okay. Is it because it rhymes with your name? Day, Dale?
Yeah.
Okay, text message or calls?
Calls. Always.
Calls. Nice. Water or fire? Pretty random one.
Water.
Water, okay. Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Marvel, nice. Xbox or PlayStation?
Oh, that's tough. I don't really play video games.
Never play games? Oh my god. Okay. Let's ask one. Jacket or sweater in the fall?
Sweater.
Sweater
Sweater if I'm in Ontario, jacket if I'm in Saskatchewan, because Saskatchewan's like winter.
True that. I forgot to mention. I know you did tell me one time that your winters are crazy.
It's cold. It's really cold here.
How cold does it get on a good day?
I would say like on average it's like -20, but like it's not unheard of for it to be like -30, -35, like without the wind chill. Like that would happen like once or twice in winter probably. It's cold. Okay. It's cold.
That's weird. Oh my god. Let's not even talk about that. That just scares me a lot. Okay. Let's see. Weight or cardio?
Cardio.
Cardio, okay. Spring or fall?
Fall.
Actually, now let's see this one. Summer or winter? You're so used to winter. Summer. You want to get away from the winter. I like that. All right. So that's the end of that. So now this last part, I'm just going to talk more about you as a person. Let's get to all know you, what your lifestyle is like. First of all, I'll give you the floor. Tell us your life story up until this point. You can tell us in 2 minutes. Let's say 2 minutes. How would you summarize your life story to this point?
Yeah. So I was born in Saskatchewan, obviously. I have one sister. We're almost the same age. She's like a year and a half younger than me. We were like always really involved in athletics growing up, so that was really great. Both my sister and I, she's competed at the collegiate level in track and field, and obviously I've been here for lacrosse. That's been great. Yeah, we're really lucky. We have super supportive parents. We've been really fortunate to travel a lot growing up, so we spent like a lot of time away in the summers or abroad or whatever. So that was really awesome. Yeah, I went to high school at Holy Cross and university I did a year of university at the University of Saskatchewan, and then I moved to Ontario Tech. And that's pretty much it. And now I'm graduated, so that's great.
Awesome. Congratulations, Ben. So I love how you said that you have a really supportive family. How much of a role have they played in your success in lacrosse?
Huge. I wouldn't even be in the sport without my parents. Obviously, I've said before, my dad is really involved in the sport. And so that really pushed me and helped foster my love of lacrosse. But overall, my parents are so supportive. They've both my sister and I are really lucky to have very supportive parents. My parents even flew out to watch our championship weekend this year. So that was really special because I spent 3 years out here and they didn't get to see any of my lacrosse, but they made it work, kind of scrambled together, and they got it here, which was awesome. Really special to have them here for that.
That's really cute and touching. I love those kind of stories so much.
Yeah.
So let's see. I know definitely lacrosse is something that runs in the family. You said your dad is really involved in that. Is that really what motivated you to say, okay, I want to play varsity lacrosse? Or alongside that, were there other reasons that motivated you or helped you craft that decision to say, okay, this is for me. This is why I want to play varsity lacrosse?
Yeah, obviously that's a huge role. I've always just loved the sport of lacrosse. There's just something about the community, especially the community I grew up in Saskatchewan, that's so supportive and small, but really powerful and really rooted in the Indigenous tradition of the sport and stuff like that. So that's been really awesome for me to kind of grow up that way in the sport. So that really pushed me to kind of pursue it at the higher level. And obviously my love of athletics and just physical activity was kind of a natural motivator to stay involved in the sport.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, now I promised I was going to talk stuff outside sports. So actually do tell us, when you're away from sports, lacrosse, varsity, whatever, even away from school, what is your life like? What are some things you like to do as a person?
Well, in the summers, I work in healthcare here in Saskatchewan. So I work at the hospital right now, which is good. That's keeping me busy, which is great. Yeah, we're really lucky. Saskatoon, people may not know in Ontario, but Saskatoon is a beautiful city and has this gorgeous river that runs through it. So I spent lots of time biking, running, walking along the river there and spending lots of time there in the summers. But yeah, that's mostly it. I'm pretty relaxed when I'm away from school, which is nice. Yeah.
That's good. It's good to keep a calm head all the time. So if I was to visit Saskatoon or anybody wants to come there to come visit and enjoy the scenery, would you say that river is one of the major things they should come see? Yeah. Or is there a special place that has a special connection with you that you would recommend for everyone?
Saskatchewan is beautiful. There's lots of different, obviously it's known for being very flat, but there's many areas of Saskatchewan that are gorgeous and very diverse. But if you're going to be in Saskatoon, obviously the rivers are a huge body of water through the city. So that's kind of where most of the happening stuff is going on. But yeah, it's gorgeous. It's a beautiful city, and it's really, there's lots of local businesses and stuff downtown. So that's really awesome. But yeah, if anyone's ever in the neighborhood, hit me up. I'll show you the
Hey, Dale, that's great. Actually, on that note, then, let's wrap it up here and say, what is your general message to everyone? What would you like people to know? You'd like to share with everyone to see this is your time to shine? Dale Wilson, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I don't know. I would say for athletes, obviously just enjoy your time. Yeah, and I just want to say thank you to the Ridgebacks community for supporting me and giving me a second family away from home. I seriously wouldn't have done any of this without them. My friends in the classroom and on the field, I wouldn't have done any of this without you. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Great, then. I know you didn't want to sing on your way out, so I'm just going to ask you a question. What is your favorite song right now, then? Let's make up with that.
Oh, my favorite song right now? I really love the new 1975 album that came out. There's some real jams on there.
That's great.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten to listen to the whole thing, but yeah.
Yeah, check it out.
Listening. It's really good.
Yeah.
Awesome, Dale. Then thank you so much for joining us on the
Yeah.
Ridgeback Rumble Talk. It was really fun. I really loved our discussion. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the future doing amazing
Yeah.
things because you've
Thank you.
already done that. So
Thank you.
let's
All right.
go.
See ya.
Bye.